Hello again. This is kind of a take two. My recording system decided to record my web browser window, not my SL when I made this the first time. But this is going to be another kind of short one because I may have mentioned working on a little project for an indie studio for something. Well, my demo paid off. I got that little gig, but getting that all finalized and off to them and everything means I don't have the prep time I normally take. So this is just kind of complete spur of the moment, off the cuff, not thought about because I was focusing on stuff that actually impacts my own work. Not that you all aren't important. You all are incredibly important. But sometimes I have to focus on something in order to make sure it's done well enough to give me some chance of a future. So, all that said, I'm going to take a moment to quickly remove some of the editing I already did to the script, which I will edit out of this video. But what you need to know is I created a second version of the wood henge. Specifically, I just turned the thing black just so that it would I just turned the thing black so that it would be a visually different thing. Today's particular video is going to be about creating a system to go through and select which version of your scenes you want to do. Say, for example, you had a virtual house out, and when you had people over, you wanted to have it poolside instead of your living room. Well, what I'm going to build today will show you how to do that. So I've basically just reconstructed this back to the state it had been in before. So what we're going to do first, in order to create these variations, is... Actually, I'm even going to go back and show you how I did this initially. Is after I built the black henge, I just collected all the pieces, took them into inventory, rezzed out the rezzer, and dropped them back in. It doesn't kick anything out because it doesn't receive the special code, the integer on res that it needs to trigger, and just called it rezzer black, just for convenient distinction. So what you're going to do in order to set all this up is you're going to want to create a menu system. Now, I believe I've gone over menus in a past video, but it's not a thing we touch on a lot like listens are, so we're going to go back through it. And that is with the dialog command. So just Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. One of the considerations when you're setting this up is where it has key avatar. You have to decide if you want this to be usable only by you or by whoever you happen to have around. If it's only for you, then you would put in here get owner. That means that anytime it's interacted with, it will send the menu specifically to its owner, because that's what this determines, is who gets the menu to interact with. If you want it to be a little more open, however, you want it to be detected key 0. And a better way to do that, since we're going to want to have it in more than one place, is to set that up here. And in order to have it carry over, we have to set it as a global variable. So key who, and down here, oh, that's right, I already had forgot to remove that line. Who equals detected key 0. So we'll put who in there. String message. What this will be is just a bit of text at the top of your menu. In this case, it will be choose your henge. A list will just have buttons it'll be the text that goes on the buttons. I find for lists like that, it's often a lot easier to make them a global. You don't have to. For something like this, you could put it in here, but if you're building anything more complicated, you want to have it up here. List, choose, equals. And all lists have to be in brackets, test, and me. These will be good for demonstration. You'll understand why in just a minute. And integer channel. For testing purposes, we're going to leave that on 0 just so I can show you how a dialog menu actually works. It pops this up here. I hit test, and it says I said test. Hit it again, it says it says that my avatar said me. The way this works is when you select an option, your avatar speaks whatever is on that button into whatever channel it's set for, which right now being 0 puts it in open chat. So the next thing we're going to do is we would want to set up a way to listen for it. Now, especially if it's open like this, you do not want to have it just stay open from whoever clicked it. In fact, you want to be able to close down the listen when you no longer need it. This is good for security. It's also good for reducing the script processing time. If you need something to only listen certain times, then you can set a removable listen. So we're going to make that, you make a removable listen by doing integer, pick, and not defining it there. Instead, you go down here, pick equals, listen. We're going to change the channel to -10 since I've already demonstrated how the listener works. You don't need to define the name of whatever you're listening to, just the key, which will be who, and you don't need to define what you're listening for. You do need to not forget to change that channel if you change this here. Now we can create an actual listen. Integer chan, string what, key who, string message. And that will confirm that that is working for you just by speaking the message out there. Confirms that it got test. Confirms that it got me. But here's the thing. -10, test. It's still listening. And it will continue to listen because we're not currently removing it from anything. To do that, you just add listen remove, and then the name of the integer we establish, in this case pick. Now it's not responding. That listen is closed. But I open it again, triggers once, and then closes. But this really doesn't help us much yet because, okay, we can listen for commands, but what do we do with them? Well, first we set the two types of henge up here instead of test and me, wood and black. Then we go into here, if message equals wood, we actually want to put the listen remove in here. We also want to move the henge true up to here, since it's not really true until it's res to henge. Wood henge or black henge, all a very, very bad version of Stonehenge, just quickly created. and then we tell it to res something. Rezzer was the original one, so that's going to be wood. So that pretty much stays as was. Now, only when it receives one of its commands, in this case wood, does it remove, that isn't important, does it remove your listener, set henge to true, and then res an object. So now we have options for both of the choices that are available up here. So it creates the res box we had, reses the black henge, clicking it makes it go away just like it did before, and now we res the wood henge. And that is how you create a menu-driven rezzer. They can create multiple different possible scenes. So, hope you all liked that one. As usual, any comments are appreciated. Anything from just letting me know you're liking what I'm doing, which does a wonderful job helping me stay motivated and know that this is of value to y'all out there. Questions, things you want to see me do, things you want to see clarified that I'm not explaining clear enough. I know I got busy this past couple of weeks and I haven't been on top of the messages as much, and I think I missed something in there from somebody asking me to do a video on a particular thing. So if you go ahead and make that request again, I'll make it will actually make it into my notes so I can actually do it. I apologize. I'm usually much more on top of these things, but I was really focused on getting my demo out to that company so that I could actually become a proper official dev software developer. In the meantime, thank you again. Good day, good luck, happy coding, and as usual, I will try to have these up every Tuesday by noon Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all.